What if I told you there's a country silently rising, stealing China's thunder, and it's not Japan, not India, but Vietnam? Yes, Vietnam. Once devastated by war, it's now on the fast lane to becoming Asia's next big economic tiger. But here's the plot twist. Vietnam's secret playbook? It's almost a copy of Singapore's formula for success, and it's working faster than anyone expected. In the 1980s, Vietnam was one of the poorest nations in the world. Fast forward to 2025 and it's now chasing 8% GDP growth, exporting smartphones, attracting tech giants, and even training its own semiconductor engineers. And behind this massive leap is a brilliant strategy, learning from Singapore, the tiny island nation that went from slum to skyscraper in just 50 years. Let's break it down. First, Vietnam opened its doors just like Singapore did. Multinational giants like Samsung, Intel and Foxconn are now building billion-dollar factories in Vietnam's high-tech industrial zones, many of which are joint ventures with, guess who? Singapore. Ever heard of VSIP? The Vietnam-Singapore industrial parks are now the blueprint for foreign investment in Southeast Asia, and that's not all. Vietnam is investing heavily in infrastructure, smart ports, metros and digital highways, just like Singapore in the 1990s. In Ho Chi Minh City, a $4 billion smart port is rising on the Saigon River aiming to become the next Singapore port. Meanwhile, metro lines are being built to solve traffic chaos, and fintech platforms are booming with projections of hitting $20 billion by next year. But it's not just hardware. Vietnam is playing the long game, copying Singapore's success in human capital. In 2025, Vietnam started training 50,000 chip workers, developing its own AI models, and even reforming schools to focus on STEM education. It wants to jump from sweatshops to semiconductors. Meanwhile, Singapore is helping Vietnam in urban planning, water management, and governance reforms. Yes, Vietnam is now learning how to fight corruption, streamline bureaucracy, and build an efficient digital government. The very formula that made Singapore a global hub. But here's where it gets intense. The US-China trade war is shaking up global supply chains and Vietnam is caught right in the middle. American companies are moving production out of China and into Vietnam. But now, with new US tariffs threatening up to 30% of Vietnam's exports, this rising dragon must pivot fast. Can it survive, or will it burn out? Vietnam's answer? Diversify, digitize, and dominate. It's expanding exports to Japan, Europe, ASEAN, and upgrading everything from agriculture to automation. And thanks to its partnership with Singapore, it's not just copying success, it's customizing it. This is the real-life version of work smart, not hard. So, will Vietnam become the next Singapore, or something even bigger? One thing is clear, while the world watches India and China, Vietnam is quietly mastering the Singapore code, and rewriting the rules of Asia's economic future. If you want to stay ahead of the global shift, subscribe now and follow this story. Because Vietnam is no longer coming, it's already here.